As a choir boy in his youth, Dr. Ramon Pagayon Santos was exposed to the harmonies of liturgical music as a high school student at the San Jose Seminary. He has come a long way since that time, and today he is a composer, conductor, musicologist, and ethnomusicologist, as well as the country's foremost exponent of contemporary music.
Well, music to me is everything, everything that we live in. When I was growing up, we grew up in music, and my grandmother taught us, all the 6 siblings, piano and solfeggio. That means reading notes, And then my mother was also a pianist. And so we all knew music. I also delved into drawing because my brother, who eventually became a visual artist, we grew up together, drawing comics and all that. And that's it. My life was really surrounded by art.
He has served as a member of the Asian Composers League, which he led as chairman from 1994 to 1997. And he was elected vice president of the International Music Council at UNESCO from 2001 to 2005. In 2014, he was proclaimed National Artist for Music.
During my high school days, I think the idea formulated itself, because I was in the seminary. I had all my high school days spent in the seminary, and I got involved in the Schola Cantorum. That's a Gregorian chant, all these hymns, and then during recreation periods, we were, instead of playing ping pong or playing chess, I listened to classical music because there was a listening hour also, so we could choose whatever activity we wanted to. And I always listened to classical music, orchestras and all that.
Dr. Santos' amazing musical journey began after entering the University of the Philippines College of Music, where he discovered Jose Maceda, an ethnomusicologist whose Asian impulses had a big influence on him. He says that it was then that his music shifted to different concepts in Asian music: rituals, pieces for hundreds of performers, and music for non-traditional instruments. His experimental pieces include Ding Ding na nga Diawa,
I enjoyed my life in the UP, learning theory, how to read, how to write, and all that. That I never thought of anything else except that. And I don't know if I also delved into other things, like I became an announcer at the DZUP, But my programs were all in music. There was a symphony hour, and then an opera hour. So I had the monopoly of the whole Saturday's broadcast, and then I became an assistant librarian. I was really, and then towards during my junior years, senior years, I got into conducting operettas in schools.
During his studies in the United States, he expanded his horizons with the prevailing styles of modern music from the traditions of China, Indonesia, and northern and southern Philippines. It was here that he was exposed to the world of contemporary and avant-garde musical idioms, the rigorous processes of serialism, contemporary and electronic music, indeterminacy, and new vocal and improvisational techniques.
Actually, when I was still in the Philippines, I really wanted to learn new things. Okay, in fact, I was I was composing so-called modern music, with dissonances and all that. Although I didn't know much about how to compose them, but and so I relished that experience, learning new things.
Dr. Santos received further training in new music in Darmstadt, Germany, and in Utrecht, in the Netherlands. His initial interest in Mahler and Debussy, while still a student at UP, waned as his compositional style shifted to neoclassicism and finally to a distinct merging of the varied influences that he had assimilated abroad.
Well, most of my compositions are derived from anything about traditional music, and that's why I've been known to combine modernity with tradition. Like the piece Clintang for piano. That was, of course, based on the Kulintang. Clintang. And then I have another piece, Palok, also for piano, but only on one note, piano. Because Palok means the gangsa, the gangsa, which creates new colors. So, Palok has also the concept of color. And then I have another piece for orchestra called Lebad. Now, Lebad is based on Yakan music. Yakan, from Basilan. It's based on motifs that is repeated and improvised and by the gabang player. I have the gabang there, and so what I did was I made up my own lebad. Lebad are, as I said, motifs, rhythmic motifs. I made up my own lebad and I created it as an orchestral piece. So anyway, these things are, as I said, are based on concepts and theories of traditional music.
His return to the Philippines marked a new path in his style. After immersing himself in indigenous Philippine and Asian music and dance, he became more interested in the open-ended structures of time and space.
Well, that's one. Combining, creating music out of ideas coming from traditions.
These include function as a compositional concept, environmental works, non-conventional instruments, the dialectics of control and non-control, and the incorporation of natural forces in the execution of sound-creating tasks. All these would lead to the forging of a new alternative music language, founded on a profound understanding and a thriving and sensitive awareness of Asian music aesthetics and culture. Simultaneous with this was a reverting back to more orthodox performance modes, chamber works, and multimedia works for dance and theater.
But that's only part of my life, I've also been an administrator, an educator, a researcher. I have a book on the vocal repertoire of the Ibaloy from Cagayan. I wrote a book. I've written 4 books already, and I have one coming out.
As an active musicologist, Dr. Santos' interest in traditional music cultures was realized in 1976, when he collected and documented music from folk religious groups in Quezon. He has also done research and fieldwork among the Ibaloy of northern Luzon. As an ethnomusicologist, his works highlight the people-specific concepts central to the ethnomusicological discipline, the translation of indigenous musical systems into modern musical discourse, and the marriage of Western and non-Western sound.
I still teach, by the way. I'm a university professor emeritus. That's the highest rank in the UP. And so I teach a PhD course, and then right now I'm involved in our pavilion in the Dubai Expo. Okay. They got me to write the music for the panels that will go on loops. You know, you will hear the music over and over again. So I'm involved in that, and then I'm involved also in the International Rondalia Festival. Okay, oh, that's another thing.
Yes, we'll go into that.
Okay. But that's still going on since 2004. You know, I organized the first International Rondalia Festival.
As a composer, his works have been conceived along concepts and aesthetic frameworks of Philippine and Southeast Asian traditions that feature Western and non-Western elements. He is known for combining orchestral instruments with Philippine indigenous instruments, as well as his different styles of vocal production.
Because every time I hear different music, I am more enriched because it's a different language which I can relate to. Can you imagine, we have more than 170 language groups here with their own music. Yung Rondalia, gusto ko sana, kasi tumutugtog na sila ng mga classical pieces, contemporary pieces. Kaya gusto kong magkaroon ng professional Rondalia orchestra. That's my dream.
That's your dream.
Yes. Kagaya ng PPO, Philippine Philharmonic. Ayan. Meron ding Rondalia Orchestra. Professional, ha? Yun lang gagawin nila. Right now, mga school-based pa rin, di ba?
Dr. Santos says that composition is invention. It is creation and not imitation. He believes that when you compose, you have to create something new. You have to create a new expression. As the founder of Strings of Unity International Rondalia Plucked String Music Festival in 2004, he has brought the festive spirit of the Rondalia to a new generation of Filipinos and has highlighted the importance of music in bringing people together.
Go ahead. Because you will find a new world of musical expressions. We have to first to learn, understand, and love our traditions. First, you have to know your own identity, di ba? Kailangan mo malaman kung sino ka.
Currently serving as University Professor Emeritus at the University of the Philippines, Dr. Santos has remained instrumental in espousing modern Philippine music rooted in old Asian practices and life concepts. With generation upon generation of students and teachers that have come under his wing, he continues to shape a legacy of modernity that is anchored on the values of traditional Asian music.